Hundreds of software millionaires are created every week. Will our founder today get a multi-million-dollar check in the next 15 minutes? You're watching Deal or Bust, and I'm your host, Nathan Latka. Over the past 5 years, I've helped founders do over $1 billion in deals after I sold my first company in 2015. I detailed all of it in my best-selling business book, How to Be a Capitalist Without Any Capital, which has sold 30,000 copies. Our podcast has been downloaded over 12 million times, making it the most listened to business show in the world. Latka magazine is 5 times the price of Forbes and shipped to over 10,000 subscribers every single month. So the question is, will our founder today get a multi-million-dollar check in the next 15 minutes? Coming up on Deal or Bust.
Billion-dollar company. Billion-dollar company.
Potentially a billion-dollar company.
100 billion, if not $1 billion company.
39,000 users from Fortune 500 companies.
I'm looking at your numbers.
The $20 million valuation is too low.
I don't even feel comfortable saying this,
$10 million is not going to do anything.
but I feel like you're too profitable.
Let's meet Chris Devor, the founder of DocHub, a platform and Chrome extension that makes signing, editing, and sending PDF documents a breeze.
The reason that I built DocHub, it was basically in 2014, if someone sent me a PDF and they're like, sign this, I'd print it, sign it, and scan it back. That's basically one of 2 workflows that we look at. The people who are self-signing, and then you also have people who are sending documents to get others to sign. Those we call them sign requests. Within that, we have a ton of features as well. So, if you're self-signing, you can also annotate, you can change pages, you can merge documents. If you go onto some of these other competitor sites, they list out all the features that they do, as if each feature is its own application or something like that. And we actually have all those features just natively built into the, if you want to reorder pages, that's not its own application. That's something that you can just do in the page manager on the left side of DocHub.
Sure, DocHub looks great, and Chris sounds very confident, but this is a crowded space. What is he doing to make DocHub stand out from all the very aggressive competitors?
There's basically, 2 key things that differentiate us from everybody else. We have more features and the stuff works better. It's cheaper too. Basically, all of our traffic's organic. We haven't paid for any ads. So if you go into Google and you type in signed PDF, I think we're right now about number 4 of the organic results. And then also we integrate really well with Google. So if you go into the G Suite marketplace and you search for signed PDF, you'll see, all the different applications out there. And I think people like us the most there. We haven't really optimized that much lately for search either. Even though we're number 4, we can do better. We have other stuff on our plate.
A lot of you guys are watching Chris maybe thinking arrogant. I see confidence, and he should be. This is a lot of traffic that he's driving via genius SEO tactics. We'll get to those numbers in a second. But first, why is Chris on Deal or Bust today? What deal is he looking for?
One of the key things that I want to get out of this here is getting an idea of what the valuation should be and what people are actually willing to pay. There's a very large spectrum. The numbers that I can come up with, they can be, like 2 orders of magnitude apart, and they can seem pretty reasonable. And if somebody wants to throw a bunch of cash at me and let me have a vacation, we'd consider.
Looking at DocHub's Google Analytics, we see 9,385 people on the site right now. But David Peterson, who leads growth at Airtable, is making some faces here. I wonder if he's doubting or questioning the quality of the traffic.
What's the breakdown of paying users by industry and use case? Do you have any sense right now?
We have a bunch of academic users who, as far as financially goes, they're definitely paying us less than the other guys. If you look at it from 5 to 10 year outlook, and everybody's using DocHub today in their school, they're going to be using it in 5 or 10 years. And when they're out of college and they're paying, let's say half of the traffic that you're seeing, got to be academic users.
You're saying students, or is this administrators or professors?
Both.
Okay.
But yeah, there's plenty of students who come on and they do their homework on it. But let's take those people aside, and we still actually have tremendous numbers in traffic and everything else. And then everybody else it's just, from every industry. And I started looking earlier this month at big businesses, and, I pulled out all the domains for Fortune 500 companies, and we've had 39,000 users from Fortune 500 companies come to our site.
Oh, wow.
I think 8,700 users from Costco. That's the biggest one.
Before we see what happens in this episode of Deal or Bust, check out founderpath.com if you're looking to get additional capital to grow your software company. If you want to do it without selling equity or setting up a board or having personal guarantees or warrants, go to the homepage at founderpath.com and use the calculator to see how much cash you could get today. Dozens of SaaS founders have taken between $10,000 and $1 million, all in under 72 hours, to fuel the growth of their companies. It's the new way to finance your software company. Check it out at founderpath.com.
If we have 8,700 people from Costco, like we could probably get some kind of business agreement. And I know some other companies in this space are able to get $1 million plus out of a single company per year.
What Chris has built here is very impressive. Hyper efficient, small team, a lot of revenue, and our buyers are grinning. They're grinning. They sense blood in the water. They would love to own a piece of this, including Andrew Gazdecki, who built and sold his first company to over $10 million in revenue and now leads MicroAcquire. What's he have to say?
Chris, I'm looking at your numbers and I don't even feel comfortable saying this, but I feel like you're too profitable. What if you just took all your profits and just reinvested it into growth for 12 months? Have you ever thought, why are you so profitable?
I guess that's just how I do things. In one of these other companies, they asked me what we were budgeting for this upcoming year. And I actually have never really used that word before. Over the last 10 years, between both businesses that I've run, we've done 40 million in gross revenue and about 18 million in profit. And I've probably gotten paid on top of the 18 million, a $4 million salary over that period. That's just, I guess, how I've done things historically. I think it makes it a lot easier on everybody when you don't have to worry about getting laid off and whatnot.
I think anyone who looks to purchase your company is going to raise pricing. And I think that's something that's an obvious growth opportunity for you. So I would absolutely explore that first. And you can test it. You can test it with 10% of your customers first. This probably isn't popular to say, but hire a sales team, dude. Talk to your customers. You'll create this incredible feedback loop. See what you can do for 12 months. You're in such a big market and you have a great product. I'm super impressed.
Although Andrew thinks the right move here is to raise prices, other buyers are shaking their head. Take a look here at what Fred from Maybrook Partners is thinking.
I personally disagree that raising pricing is the first thing you should do. I think pricing should be left what it is. There are many other more valuable things to experiment with and build on, especially if you're bringing developers in. But can you talk about this API? Have you given it any thought? How would you envision it working? How would you price it?
When I talk about changing our pricing structure too, that doesn't just mean raising prices. We've seen huge organizations come on board, go through our free plan, and we have nothing to sell them because we don't have a pricing option that would suit them really. But with regards to an API, we have a signing platform, and it does quite a bit. But if we could have documents being sent out, or just legal contracts or whatever, from other people's servers and reminders to sign the document and stuff like that, you could even integrate Stripe and accept payments. So let's say you're a guy who's mowing lawns for a living. You send them the contract, they sign it, and then they can also accept the payment in the same platform. And then all that could be all automated back to your system.
The notion of just we're $5, everybody else is $10, let's raise the price. I see how tempting that is, but just this is such a great business. There's lots of free cash flow here, and there's lots of other things to build. I'm not saying don't raise the price, but I think that should be the last thing that you try. One of the first things I would try if I was here is I would try to see how I can get this incorporated to other people's workflows and companies. Because once they invest some time and effort and development time in it, then you're likely to have a very sticky customer. That leads to many other great things.
Watch out. Fred's gone through the numbers. He's looking at this. He's smiling. I think he's ready to make an offer. What's he going to do?
You have the resources to grow this. Clearly, you need some business discipline, something on the sales and marketing side. There are plenty of ideas to try out, and I'm sure you know this business better than any of us. I'm not going to pay to your potential. I'm going to pay for what it is, and what it is are the numbers that you're showing. Based on those numbers, I'm going to come in somewhere in the, let's say, $10 million plus or minus. But what I'm interested to do, if this is something that you're interested to do, what I'm interested in is a great team that wants to build something great. What I bring to the table is, for the last 7 years, I've been doing institutional size type real estate deals, and we really have a good understanding of what it takes like this, and really adding value and getting it to potentially $1 billion company. And that's what we do on the finance side.
The offer here, if you had to sell, you're saying you'd value it at 10 million for what, 100%, 50%? What are you valuing it at?
That's what I would value 100% of it. Now, what I'm trying to explain here is that around some number like that, I'm willing to partner with you. I don't have to have 100% of it. So you can take some money off the table. You can take a few months off and go get your head cleared, but come back and let's build something. And if that's something that's interesting to you, we should definitely talk.
10 million doesn't really do much for me. I think in 2 years we'll be at 10 million in revenue with a 50% profit margin. And so I think that number is just a bit off.
Fred's offer insulted Chris, and maybe $10 million does seem a little low. I'm watching Raj's reaction here, who's created DocHub to buy SaaS companies. And I'm curious if this denial from our founder, Chris, is really putting Raj on edge. What's he gonna do?
Obviously, I'm out because I don't think you should take it. I think if you're truly emotionally done, then you're going to get a multiple of revenue. But if you want to talk offline about a minority investment with you running it, then I would be interested, but I don't think I'll be able to match what you're looking at.
Chris laughed at Fred's $10 million offer, and Raj is out. We've got one buyer left. Tim Schumacher with SaaS Group. He's got a big wallet. He wants to do a deal. The question is, will he make an offer right now, or will this be a bust?
I think there are two options. And I mean, option one is really, I'm thinking similar to the other two. We're value buyers too. SaaS Group usually buys at 3 to 5x EBITDA, more for great businesses. This is certainly a great business. So you've been growing 60% year over year. Sure, you profited a little bit from COVID, but hey, I'm with you. Like, people, once they've started signing documents online, they're not going back as like, oh, paper was so great. Now let's stack papers again. That's not going to go happen. Growth will slow, but people will be with you. So for that business, we can go a little above 5x EBITDA, but we'd be considerably paying more than the other two. So about 20 million in cash. But at the same time, you're the type of guy we would love to work with, rather than just give you a bunch of cash. If you want cash now, you can take it. You put in a managing director and you just enjoy the dividends and you work it. You don't need money. You need a sparings partner to vet ideas, to work with you, to sometimes take you out of your comfort zone. Someone before has said, hey, why don't you use that cash? And I can totally understand why you don't. Like, I'm the same type of entrepreneur. I like having a safety cushions. My companies are usually profitable very quickly, but then the challenge is to grow it from this profitability and not slow down. And I think for that, you need a partner, because it's harder to do alone. And we'd love to be that type of partner for you. We would offer 10 million for half of the company, inject another 5 million into the company because you need this kind of cushion, and then be joint owners and together make this 100 million, if not $1 billion company. That's my offer.
I feel like it's a little low.
At least this time, Chris didn't laugh our buyer out of the room. Tim seems interested, but you can tell he's wondering, does Chris have any wiggle room on the valuation?
As far as getting another $10 million, I don't think that's going to do that much for us. It'd be interesting to do something like $40 million and maybe Tim gets 25%. With that, we need to get a senior person in here to help co-manage this business. Otherwise, the $10 million is not going to do anything.
Why did I ship 10,300 copies of Latka magazine out last month? Well, because there's no better place for software founders, investors, and buyers to get more data on software companies than Latka magazine at nathanlatka.com/magazine. Grab your copy today and flip to page 6, where you'll see a list of software companies talking about their churn benchmarks, revenue, valuation, and other growth tactics. Then flip to page 13, where you'll see 6 other SaaS founders looking to sell, their revenue, a little peek into their data room, and what they're looking for in terms of an exit price. And then lastly, flip to page 53, where you'll see 10 new founders looking to raise capital, some doing as little as $100,000 a month in revenue, some as much as $1 million a month in revenue. All the biggest deals in SaaS are inside of Latka magazine. Go get your copy today at nathanlatka.com/magazine. I don't want you to miss out. No exceptions. We close the cart down at Friday at 5 p.m. so I can send the list of addresses to ship to our printing facility in Michigan. Don't miss out. Pause the video right now. Go grab your copy at nathanlatka.com/magazine, and then come back to Deal or Bust, and let's see if we get an offer today.
I think your deal, it sounds like we're in a zone of possible agreement, like 25%, probably not at 10, but a little lower, could be something where we might even agree upon it. It's a little high. It's definitely higher than what we paid. But if we have a clear route, we have a clear plan of what we do together, then that could be the value of your company. But it also means, to be fair to all entrepreneurs out there, it means you would commit to another 4 or 5 years being in this together. If you want to sell a business and just essentially dump it on someone's lap and it's okay, here's my baby, take it, do something good with it, which a lot of entrepreneurs want, then you'd be really more in the 20 million range. But those are really two fundamentally different concepts. So for example, one thing in our call, I'd love to understand really where you are in life. Is it that one route or is it that other route? And that is more important than any like cash number and anything when making up your decision.
I guess if I sold DocHub today, what I can say as far as am I going to retire and just travel the world, I would suspect that I could try that. But what I guess my grandfather did is he made a ton of money, tried to sell his company, and his wife was going to file for divorce if he didn't go back to work. So then he'd get work. So I suspect that my wife probably wouldn't even give me like a year off. But I think I'm going to keep doing stuff, and DocHub's pretty exciting.
Chris really wants Tim to give him a $40 million valuation and write him a $10 million check for 25% of the company. While Tim looks like that's a painful valuation, he looks a little in pain, it seems like they're close enough to get a deal done. And Tim surprises us and agrees. We've got a deal. Let's see what Chris is thinking.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's interesting to read the comments, and they're all over the place too. But there's been a lot of love for DocHub. We have a lot of pride in our product. We'll see what happens.